it has apparently been long enough since I've done a tier list that the settings on XSplit reset. Anyway, this was the poll winner I had on my Twitter a while back. Best movies of 2000 tier list maker. Not sure. Not sure how the maker of this list, a Wyatt36146020, to determine. Maybe these are just ones that he liked, because I'm pretty sure there were a lot more movies in 2000, the year 2000, that were critically, financially, or both. Critically successful, financially successful, or both, I should say. Yeah, I fumbled my sentence there. Anywho, but yeah, I've actually seen most of these, and I've set up a special haven't seen thing here for those I haven't. Although, you know, some of these I've not seen in a while, so I'm going to be going from memory here. So if I say anything particularly dumb about them to anyone who's seen them more recently, feel free to correct me in the comments, because, hey, engagement is engagement. Anyway, rushing this little thing out since it's going to be a little bit before I can do the Season 8 wrap-up episode for Shameless Cash Grab. I've still waiting to hear back from the first person I reached out to about being the countdown voice, so that if he turns me down, I can go ask my second one. But let's go ahead and get the haven't seens out of the way, just because that's quicker. Thankfully, even though you can't really see the titles on all of these, or see the full titles on all of these, I recognize them all by their posters. So, Snatch, I have not seen. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I have not seen. I want to, I just haven't. The Emperor's New Groove, I have not seen. Now, a couple of these are borderline cases, because I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen parts of it. No, actually, now that I think about it, that really only applies to one of these. And yeah, you know what? Okay, I've seen some of it, but I haven't seen all of it, so I don't really know if it would be fair for me to put it anywhere else on the list. So Requiem for a Dream is going to be haven't seen, but with an asterisk. Okay, now let's do them in the order they're down here, starting with Scary Movie. You know, I certainly loved it at the time, and there are a few jokes in it that stand out in my memory that are still fairly funny. But other ones that I remember have not aged well, and I imagine if I were to watch it today, I would not enjoy it anywhere near as much. And I didn't care for any of the sequels, the ones that I actually saw any of anyway. So, like I said, there are a few jokes that kind of still hold up a little bit. I'm going to be nice and put it in the C tier. Remember the Titans, it's just fine. I have nothing particularly bad to say about it, but not that much great either. It's sort of a... kind of feels like a run-of-the-mill biopic that... the only thing about that really stands out are Denzel Washington and Will Patton as the leads. But yeah, that's good enough to bump it up to B at least. Chicken Run. I love this movie. It is so good, not even the fact that anti-Semitic wife-beater Mel Gibson being the voice of one of the main characters in it can ruin it. For starters, he doesn't even show up for like the entire first act. So he's really not the star of the movie. The star of the movie is are all the other chickens. Well, I should say just, yeah. But, yeah, oh god, I saw this movie in theaters like 5 times, which is actually less impressive when you realize that I worked at the movie theater then, so I didn't actually have to pay for any of those. But still, even allowing for that, I have not seen any other movie on the big screen as many times as I've seen Chicken Run. It's just such a fun movie. I love all the little references in there that only the adults would get. But they're not but the kids could still find them funny on at least some level. It's funnier if you're an adult. That's definitely how you do that kind of family comedy. And just the claymation is just excellent. But it's Aardman. They're usually good at that kind of thing. I still have a pretty fond memory of Memento. I think it's a good movie. I haven't seen it in a while. Not sure how well it holds up, but I think the performances are solid. The editing is great. I don't know if anything Christopher Nolan has done since then has been quite as good. I even think the third Batman movie wasn't terrible. Definitely not as good as the first two. And it's like, yeah, I actually think Interstellar is a little underrated because I think a lot of people didn't realize that Nolan was kind of going for a Spielberg pastiche, and so they were expecting people. A lot of people went into that movie expecting something like sort of pure Nolan, and then were disappointed when they didn't get that. And it's like, but yeah, I think I went into a little bit of that in the Letterboxd Top 40 video because Interstellar was one of the movies on that list. Okay, American Psycho. I'm sorry, I do not like this movie at all. I get all that stuff about it being a satire of 80s culture, 80s business culture, and excess and white male privilege and all that, and to be fair, the scene where Patrick Bateman is explaining Huey Lewis in the news to whatever Jared Leto's character's name was, it's not a bad scene on its own. I just don't think it's enough. I just don't think it's enough to really save this movie from just being meh. I did not enjoy watching it at all. None of the performances really stuck out to me. Well, Willem Dafoe was okay, I guess. The best thing to come out of American Psycho was actually the parody of that scene I just mentioned that has Huey Lewis playing himself and Weird Al Yankovic. And I'll link to that in the show notes. That bit is funny. Almost Famous. Okay, good movie on its own. Certain aspects of it have certainly not aged great. A lot. Well, I don't want to say aged great because I think they were probably not that great originally when I was watching this movie and really enjoying it. It's just that it didn't occur to me, and I think a lot of it was just not. It wasn't like malicious. It just wasn't thought through very well. But despite those problems, though, you got the great music, not just the music from the time that they used in the soundtrack, like Tiny Dancer, but also the original music that was created for the movie. And I don't know if Kate Hudson has been in anything anywhere near as good since then. I think it's been pretty steadily downhill for her from this to being in the Sia movie, which, ugh. Yeah, honestly, if the Sia movie ends up killing Kate Hudson's career, it'd be a mercy. Still, I think it might be worth seeing, especially for like the music, Philip Seymour Hoffman's performance, some of the some of the jokes, like when the band are talking to their promoter and the guy's like, do you think Mick Jagger's gonna still be out there out there performing when he's in his 50s? But yeah, that I saw this one in theaters, and that line definitely got a laugh from the audience. Everybody got that one. Yeah, okay, problematic but not terrible. I'll put it in B. Mission Impossible 2. Okay, I think if you've listened to Shameless Cash Grab over the years, you may have heard me mention how I consider this one to be possibly my favorite so bad it's good movie. So I'm putting it in S tier, but the S in S tier stands for stupid. Because this movie is just, It is ridiculous, but in like the best ways. Is like, you know what? If you want to convince me that by like any objective measure of filmmaking that the other Mission Impossible movies are better, I won't argue with that. I just enjoy watching this one more because of how silly it is, not in spite of. I do not deny that so much about this movie is just completely ridiculous. How it overuses tropes from the first movie that people liked. You know, how it plays like a parody of a John Woo movie, even though John Woo was the one directing it. The villain being too much of a ham, which, you know, shouldn't even be possible. But or maybe not enough of a ham. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe if he'd gone just a little further. Well, anyway, the butt rock soundtrack. I mean, getting Limp Bizkit to cover the Mission Impossible theme, it's so stupid, but it's the kind of stupid that really needs to be heard to be appreciated. I just this movie is completely ridiculous. It is dumb. It craps all over the premise of the TV show. But I love it anyway. It's stupid, but I love it. The first X-Men movie, definitely good at the time, but, you know, a lot better has come since then, and also, fuck Bryan Singer, so... but some of the actors are still good. I'll split the difference and put it in C. You know what? Gladiator got a little bit of flack that I think was largely unfair, but at the same time, I don't know if it was really worthy of the Best Picture Oscar that year. It's good, certainly. I think I don't know that Ridley Scott has made anything quite as good since then. I think this, especially like in the past decade, don't even get me started on Prometheus, but Gladiator, you know, the actors were all appropriate in their roles. The set design was fantastic, like the costuming and the music. Oh God, the music. Look, even if you don't have the fondest memories of this movie, if you went and saw it in theaters and you didn't care for it, listen to the soundtrack in isolation. I think that you'll at the very least appreciate that. Again, not sure it was worthy of Best Picture that year, but then again, I barely even remember what its competition in that category was. I'm going to go with A tier. The Patriot, again, liked it at the time, but I just can't enjoy this movie anymore with everything I've learned about Mel Gibson since then, so I'm putting it in the D tier. I'm sorry. And besides, it's a Roland Emmerich movie, and he pretty much peaked with Independence Day anyway. So, yeah. Okay, this one's gonna probably be even more controversial than the Mission Impossible 2 pick, because at least I justified Mission Impossible 2 by saying that I loved it because of how stupid it was. Ron Howard and Jim Carrey's Grinch Before Christmas movie. I actually think it's fine. A tier. Is it the best adaptation of the story? No. Not even close. Is it the worst, though? Also no. I mean, come on. I don't think I even need to see the Benedict Cumberbatch one to just know. I could just tell from the animation style that it was not going to be pleasant. But honestly, I appreciated the grown-up jokes in this one. You know, a little prurient, I'll admit, but I still got to laugh. Anthony Hopkins did a great job narrating, as he usually does. It's like, if you can get Anthony Hopkins to be the narrator of your movie, I think that's bonus points right there. And I imagine he appreciates that, because he doesn't even need, because it's an acting role that he doesn't even need to put on pants for. But I mean, yeah, some jokes don't quite work, and, you know, aging up Cindy Lou Who I can see how that might upset the purists. And I don't appreciate that Jeffrey Tambor is in this, because he's a dick. But, you know, I think on its own, I honestly believe that Ron Howard's Grinch Who Stole Christmas is a fun movie. Again, the original animated one with the Karloff narration and the "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," all that, much better. Not, not so padded and all that, but I do still enjoy this one. It's fine. A tier. Unbreakable? Oddly enough, I think a lot of people say that M. Night Shyamalan's decline started with this one. I don't agree at all. I think this is actually a pretty good movie on its own. It's way too late, and from what I've heard, very bad sequel, or sequels, I guess, if you count Split. Haven't seen them, so I can't verify that, but I liked Unbreakable. I think it's fine. I don't know if it's less good than The Sixth Sense, to be sure, but I think the people who were ready to write off Shyamalan right away for that were incorrect to do so. They were right to do so for Signs, but that was crap. But on the other hand, though, I do think Lady in the Water is underrated. But that I'll save that conversation for another time if necessary. But yeah, I think Unbreakable is a pretty good movie. I think it's a solid mystery. I think Bruce Willis was pretty good in it. Samuel L. Jackson was really good in it, as he usually is. I have no problem putting Unbreakable in the A tier. 13 Days. Not a bad movie, but I believe a lot of the historical accuracy about it is dubious. Which, I mean, can be okay depending on the kind of movie you're trying to make. I mean, if you're like using real events to tell a story, or tell a story about real events, are kind of two different things, despite how it may sound like on the surface. The acting's fine. I think, yeah, Stephen Culp as Bobby Kennedy he was pretty good in that. I think he got a supporting actor nomination for that, and, well, the nomination was well deserved. Not bothered that he didn't win, though. So, I don't know. It's also really been a long time since I've seen this. I'm going to be kind and put it in the B tier, but that's with an asterisk. Because it's very possible that if I were to rewatch it, it could get easily bumped down to C. I don't think it would go down to D. I honestly don't. But, So B, but with an asterisk. Castaway. It's fine. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Tom Hanks was good as usual. I did cry when he lost the volleyball. But I think maybe the denouement was a little too long, and also the trailers kind of gave away the ending, which, hell, not even kind of. The trailers totally gave away the ending, which did not do the movie any favors. I think it's a lot better if you don't know going in that he makes it back to the mainland eventually. So, for that, although grantedly that is grantedly, oh god, that's not even a word. Granted, that's more the studio's fault than the director's. I'm still going to go ahead and put it in B. Wow, we got through this one pretty quick, didn't we? Okay, last one. Space Cowboys. Yeah, I've heard people say they don't like this one, but none of them have told me why. I think it's a pretty fun movie with a solid cast. The premise is silly, sure, but that was pretty much on purpose. I think this is as close as Clint Eastwood has ever gotten to directing just a straight-up comedy. Generally preferring, like dramas and westerns and shit, or dramatic westerns, as it were. Or stuff like Gran Torino and war movies. And he's definitely gone off the deep end in recent years, but he was still cogent back then. I think it's a fun movie. I think the supporting cast that's not on the poster here was fun. The action was decent. Yeah, I think it's a fine movie. I had fun watching it in the theater, and I got to watch it a few times at home on DVD before I had to sell the DVD during one of my rough patches. I'll go ahead and put that in the A tier as well. So, yeah. Yeah, Mission Impossible 2 in the S tier, the Ron Howard Grinch in the A tier, and American Psycho in the D tier, and me not having seen Snatch, Crouching Tiger, or Emperor's New Groove. That's probably going to lose me some followers, but, you know, hey, this is my tier list, so c'est la vie. Yeah. I'm glad this was short. Let's see if I can get another one of these out before, well, no. I want to focus on getting the season cash grab, season 7 wrap up finished before I do another tier ranking video, but so, yeah, here you go. Best movies of the year 2000. Are these all the best movies of the year 2000? No, but this was what I had to work with. And I'm rambling. Good night, everybody.